All right, guys, just wanted to recap our worksheet, which should be actually 5-7 here, not 3-7, on rotations. So the first thing we did was we talked about the angle of rotation. And remember, we said in order to find the angle of rotation, essentially what I need to do is just connect any two corresponding points, whether it's D prime and D or A prime and A, to the center of rotation. And by doing that, I'm forming an angle. So that is our angle of rotation. And if we connected, let's say, C to E, right, and then C prime to E, we're also creating the same angle here. And that angle then is congruent to that angle. Those two angles are equal. Those are both angles of rotation. The second thing we did was we talked about how to find the center of rotation. And so what we essentially said, and this is one of the questions for your homework, is that I really want to do two steps, right? So I want to create two perpendicular bisectors, okay? And I'm going to use the corresponding points from the image and the preimage to make those perpendicular bisectors, okay? And the center of rotation, all right, is where the perpendicular bisectors intersect. And that's all I want to do. So, for our purposes, we're going to pick two corresponding points. So, for example, if I pick F and F prime. So, one thing I can do is just connect them together just so you can see the segment you want to choose. So, I'm going to do that segment right there. And let's pick another one. Let's do, how about B to B prime. Now, it shouldn't matter which two you use. Okay, you should get the same intersection. What you may want to do is choose two segments that aren't facing the same way. So for example, if I pick E to E prime, all right, you can see that these are pretty close to like this, almost parallel to each other. And that line is going to be a little bit harder to see like where the angle bisectors are meeting. It's just makes it easier to do. So I'm going to pick B prime. I'm going to draw a circle that's more than half, okay, the distance. So I don't need the whole circle. I just need it so that the two circles intersect. And essentially, remember we talked about class, I'm making my football. So there's my football where the two circles cross. And I am going to draw a line that goes through the intersections of the circle. So there's my perpendicular bisector of BB prime. Now I'm going to do F prime. So I draw a circle. I do more than half. And I'm going to draw our football again. Okay? Now there's a couple circles going on, so just follow the first circle and the second circle and you can get the intersection. So it's right there and then down there. There you go. And you can see where these two perpendicular bisectors are meeting. Right there is my center of rotation. Okay? And if I picked any other 2 points, let's say A and A prime here, all right? If I did the perpendicular bisectors for A and A prime, so once again, perpendicular, 2 circles, drawing the football here, all right? Now there's a lot of circles going on, so go back and find circle here, so where this crosses here, and then I'm tracing that circle back to where it intersects again, which is right there, and I don't think I drew this long enough. So, circle A is right there. A prime is right down there. Right, where those 2 circles meet, which is right here and right there. And you can see where the ruler goes down. You see how I had to go back and find my circles because there's a lot on the paper. Right there, once again, that line is going right through our center of rotation. Okay, so any 2 perpendicular bisectors are going to allow you to find the center. All right, and the other thing we talked about that we're going to do is how to actually rotate a figure around a point. Now, the first step to doing this is I need to actually create this angle. So whether it's 60 degrees or 120, we'll actually talk about how to do this, okay? the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself an equilateral triangle. Okay? So I'm going to go up here to the top of the paper to do mine. You may have done yours in class down here. It's okay. It doesn't really matter. But the reason I'm doing it up here is because I'm going to use this triangle twice. So all I'm going to do for myself is draw myself a line segment. Okay? There's a segment. Now I'm going to make an equilateral triangle out of that segment. So I'm going to take my compass. I'm going to open it up so that it matches the length of my line, and I'm going to draw two circles. One part of the circle, there's the first one, is around this endpoint here, and then I'm going to switch to the other endpoint, and I'm going to draw the same a circle with the same radius. And so essentially what I've done is found where these two circles intersect, the lines that I'm drawing, remember, are the radii of the circle, and if they're equal to each other, then that triangle is going to end up being equilateral. Good deal. So there's my equilateral triangle, and as we all know, 180 degrees, 3 congruent angles, so each of these angles is 60 degrees. All right. So how do we actually rotate now that we have an angle? And so the key thing we're going to do is we're going to think about this kind of like we do like the planets in the sky, right? So we know that the planets in the sky all orbit the sun. There's my sun, there's my planet. And each planet has a different orbit, right? Which essentially means that this point C, if I rotate it around point F, has to follow this circular path, okay? You guys see the circular path it's going to take. All right? Somewhere on that circle is where my rotation is going to be. I just have to turn 60 degrees in this direction. We know that it's down here because 60 degrees means counterclockwise. So what I need to do is draw the same circle around this point, we'll call it F prime, which is one of the vertices of my triangle. Okay, I'm going to pick this one right here. So if I draw the same circle, and I don't actually need the whole circle, but I just want you to see that I'm essentially drawing that circle right there. So these two circles are equal. I only need the part that goes between the two sides of the angle, right here and here. Okay? What I need to do is measure this distance. How far does this actually travel? Because that's how far I need this point to go. So I'm going to put my compass on one side of the angle, and I'm essentially measuring the width of the angle. What you're going to notice here is since this is 60 degrees, I'm going to actually have to change the length of my compass. If this was any other measurement, because at 60 degrees, I'd have to make this compass bigger or smaller, because I'm essentially creating another equilateral triangle here. So I take my compass, I place it on C. Now remember, this distance of my compass is the width of this angle right here. So all I have to do is mark off that width, okay? And now I know that this is 60 degrees of that circle, and this is 60 degrees of the corresponding of this circle. And these two circles are equal. So this distance from here to here is the same as the distance from there to there. And this is where the image of C goes. And then I repeat. So I put my compass sharp point at F, and I'm going to draw, right, circle BF, which is essentially like this. Now I don't need the whole circle, right? I only need to go 60 degrees in this direction. I do the exact same circle around F, okay? And really, I only need the part that cuts through the angle, okay? So I'm making a big arc around B this way. I'm drawing the intersection of circle F prime and the angle, and then I'm measuring the width of the angle I created. Notice I don't have to change the compass length because it's 60 degrees. I place my compass point over here on B, okay? And I mark off that distance. And this is traveling 60 degrees around that circle. So it's essentially like 1/6 of the circle. And that's where B prime goes. And then I do the same thing from F to A. So I put my circle on F, sharp point on F, pencil on A, and I draw a circle, right, going in this direction. So the planet, right, our sun here, and this is the path that would take. Now, I'm going to draw the same thing around here. And what you're going to notice is that this actually doesn't intersect my angle. And so this is going to happen every once in a while. And all I have to do now is extend the sides of this equilateral triangle out. There and here. All right. And there you go. So now I know that this is a 60-degree angle right from there to there. That's the path that 60 degrees takes. I put my sharp point back on A, I mark off, and that's the distance of 60 degrees around here. And now, all I have to do is mark up the distance between C prime and A, B prime and A, and then B prime and C prime, and there's my image, 60-degree rotation. All right? So I'll do 1 point here for the bottom here, and we're going to actually do another equilateral triangle for this question, so you can see how we do 120 degrees this time. So 120 degrees is actually the same thing we did here, except remember, if I make this line going on this direction, right, and this is 180 degrees, if this is 60, this is my 120 degree angle. What I really need to do here is draw another equilateral triangle, okay? So I'm going to come down here, all right, and I'm going to draw another equilateral triangle. So I'll just make a line from there to there. Okay, see my line? 1 point on the end point here. End point, swing the circle, part my circle, where they cross. Now remember, we're going to want some room for this 120 degree angle. So if I make it over here, I need to make a distance from like B to E, and I may not have that room. So I'm going to go on this side over here, okay? So what I'm going to do is extend this side out. So notice that what I'm doing is I'm meant to extend the line. I'm putting my ruler on the bottom part of the line. So as long as this is matching up with the bottom part of my triangle, that means that this is also going to be extending that line out. So, and there we go. So that means that this is 60 degrees. That angle there is 120. That's the rotation I'm going to take. And I'm going to extend this side of my triangle so I can make this a little bigger 120 degree angle, okay? So remember what we do. We'll do D and I'll do C for you, and I'll leave the rest for you guys. Circle on D. Oh, okay? Draw a circle D. Really what I'm doing is just swinging an arc out that goes a pretty big distance, okay? And here, we'll call this E prime, which is the center, right? That's the center of rotation. That's the center of my rotation. And I'm going to draw an arc that cuts through both sides of the angle here. Okay, now notice this is not going to hit. So this is the width of the arc from here to here. All right, see it? Oop. From there to there, that's my width. Mark it off a little bit. Okay, now I go over to point D, swing an arc, and where that hits, that's 120 degrees, and that's where D prime goes. Okay, so if you want to think about, like we did before, there's my circle around D, okay, and that's 120 degrees. That's 1/3 of the circle, and that's where point D goes. So I'm going to do the same thing for C. So sharp point on E, pencil on C, swing an arc out. Okay, come on over here, draw the same arc through the angle, and then I'm going to measure off that distance. Sharp point on C. Now, you can see that this is not intersecting, right? So what I need to go do is go back over to E and extend my circle out towards us. And right there, that's point C prime. And then I do it again. So from E, this one's going to be even bigger, E to B. All right. Right there. Do the same circle around here, and you can see like that's not intersecting. I know, and I do apologize for this, guys, but I'll do some more of these tomorrow. Okay. So, SharePoint, that's all way up there. Let's see, you want to turn. Come on over to B, knock off that turn, and there's B prime. All right, and then I do A, bring it back down. Circle around A, get rid of that guy right there. Okay, come on over to point E prime, measure my width. Mark it off. And actually, I didn't make circle A long enough. And there we go. And then we just connect the 4 points. And there you go. That's a 120-degree rotation. Okay, one other option you could do is like when you draw circle D, like put a D over here so you know that this is representing that circle, right? Circle C, that's the next circle. So there's C, that would have been A, and that would have been B. So you can kind of follow along and get that distance. It's an option for you as you're working along. But there's your worksheet and your homework. So hopefully this helps. If you need anything else, come see me tomorrow, guys. All right? See you.